Hey everyone, welcome to Reality TV News Update, the place where we bring you the latest updates, fun moments, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't want to miss. The first official trailer for Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans is officially here. In addition to giving fans their first look at the completely unpredictable milestone season, including cameos from celebrities like country singer Zac Brown and YouTube sensation Mr. Beast, the trailer similarly confirmed that Survivor 49 champion Savannah Louie and fourth-place finalist Rizzo Velovich would be rounding out the season's record-breaking cast. The identities of the season's final two castaways, both of whom were pulled from the series' recently wrapped 49th season, remained a mystery until Wednesday, December 17th, despite the fact that longtime host Jeff Probst announced the majority of the 24-person cast following the finale of Survivor 48 this spring. Just moments after being crowned the next sole survivor, the trailer for Survivor 50 confirmed that Savannah Louie would be returning to compete alongside her #1 ally, Rizzo Velovich, on the upcoming season. Now, both castaways are opening up about the moment they learned they'd earn a spot on the cast, competing alongside series legends like Siri Fields, Ozzy Lust, and Benjamin Coach Wade, as well as former Survivor champions Dee Valladares and Kyle Frazier. Rizzo Velovich reacts to being invited back for Survivor 50. "It was unreal," Rizzo told the Post, recollecting the moment Jeff Probst asked him to return to compete on Survivor 50 just 9 days after wrapping season 49. "As a Survivor fan, like a true student of the game, only less than 10 people have ever done what I'm going to do, go back-to-back," Velovich, 26, continued. "And the fact that I got back-to-back for Survivor 50, arguably what's going to be the biggest season of all time, they saw potential in me. It was game-changing." Although Rizzo, also known as the man, the myth, the legend RizGod Baby, was unable to secure a spot at the final Tribal Council in season 49, he did make history on the most recent episode of Survivor by remaining a public immunity idol for an unprecedented 9 eliminations. In the end, it was the dreaded Final Four fire-making challenge that brought an end to Rizzo Velovich's charismatic run on the season, clearing the way for his #1 ally, Savannah Louie, to take home the crown and the $1 million prize. Rizzo, on the other hand, quickly discovered after filming had finished that his time on Survivor was far from over. Rizzo details Jeff Probst's offer to return for Survivor 50. "So it was the next day on Ponderosa," the tech salesman recalled. "Rizzo, we need to talk to you from production. I walk into a room, there's a computer, and Jeff Probst is on it. He's looking at me, so I'm like, oh my God, Jeff. In the finale, I thought he just did this with everyone. I was like, so good to see you. You just called me RizGod. It's like we're best friends. I've seen you for 25 days at this point." And then Jeff very seriously goes into this monologue. "Rizzo, Survivor 50. And in my mind, I'm like, is he about to ask me if I'm going to be on Survivor 50? Velovich added. "After that, he asks me, and I lose my composure. I go ballistic. I start crying. Absolutely, yes, signed, sealed, and delivered, I say. Don't even have to worry. I need not even leave Fiji. Keep me here, please. Whatever." The soon-to-be two-time player didn't even call his parents in Yonkers, New York, who were patiently waiting for his return to seek advice. He simply gave CBS an automatic yes and returned to set just over a week later. "It wasn't real. It was crazy," he concluded, "and I got to play with the legends that I grew up idolizing." Savannah Louie, the moment she was asked to return for 50. Savannah Louie, who was also invited to return for Survivor 50 just moments after being declared the winner of Survivor 49, also opened up about receiving the offer in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. "I saw Rizzo kind of go into this back room and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. He walked out in a different direction and he was walking with like a little pep in his step," Savannah said, revealing that she unintentionally witnessed the moment production pulled Velovich to ask him to return for season 50. The former reporter went on to say, "I was like, huh, that's interesting. Louis then told a similar story to Rizzo's about being called into a back room by CBS producers, only to find Probst waiting for her to talk to her on a Zoom call. While Savannah similarly accepted Probst's offer to return for season 50, she was able to piece together that Rizzo would be joining her on the upcoming season. Savannah reveals that she told Rizzo that they would both be on 50. So on Ponderosa, I went up to Rizzo, and all I say is, "Hey, congratulations," Savannah revealed, adding that Rizzo's immediate response was, "What are you talking about?" Savannah then stated to Rizzo, in a line worthy of the most recent season of Soul Survivor, "Oh, so you think you're the only person invited back for 50? At first, Rizzo didn't believe her, telling EW, "I was like, what? They asked you?" Rizzo quickly clarified, saying to Savannah, "No, Savannah, they've just never asked a winner to come back-to-back in Survivor history," even though Savannah reportedly found Rizzo's incredulous response to be somewhat offensive. After coming to terms with the fact that he'd be returning hand-in-hand with Savannah, Rizzo told the Post, "I was so happy. I thought, oh my God, we just ran this game together in 1949, and now we get to turn the tables on 1950, so I was super excited." Find out how the rest of the cast of Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans react to relative newcomers Rizzo Velovich and Savannah Louis when the hotly anticipated milestone season makes its epic 3-hour debut on Wednesday, February 26th on CBS. The castaways of Survivor 49 believed that at least for the time being, their flames had been permanently extinguished when filming ended. Season 50, the milestone anniversary edition of CBS's long-running juggernaut, felt like a distant dream reserved for legends from earlier eras. But for several players from Season 49, that dream became reality far sooner than expected. Multiple castaways from Season 49 are now speaking out about the jaw-dropping, emotional, and sometimes surreal moments they were asked to return to, moments they describe as nothing short of unreal, as anticipation builds for Survivor 50. A call that made all the difference. For many players, the invitation came quietly. No dramatic Jeff Probst monologue, no clue about immunity idol. Just a call, or in some cases, a cryptic email that instantly sent their hearts racing. I honestly thought it was a producer checking in for exit interviews or social media stuff, one Season 49 standout recalls. When they said, "We're calling about Season 50, my brain short-circuited." Several castaways say the producers were careful not to reveal too much at first, mindful of secrecy surrounding the historic season. But once the words "returning players" were spoken, disbelief set in. "I remember pacing my kitchen like I was about to be voted out again," another player says. "I kept thinking, there's no way this is happening." The weight of Season 50. Season 50 carries a significance unlike any other in Survivor history. It represents 5 decades of surprises, alliances, betrayals, and life-altering events as a celebratory returnee season. For players who had only just debuted on Season 49, the honor felt overwhelming. "I honestly thought the show would be heavily represented with the classic cast," one castaway explains. "To even be mentioned in the same breath as Season 50 felt wild." Many people thought the show's classic cast would be heavily represented in Season 50. The inclusion of new era contestants, especially ones from Season 49, sent a clear message. Their games mattered. "That was the most validating part," another returnee says. "It wasn't just you were entertaining, it was your gameplay deserves to be seen again." Emotions hit hard and fast. The moment the call ended, reality hit. Some broke down immediately. "I cried, like ugly cried," one admits with a laugh. "I had worked so hard on Season 49, and even though I didn't win, I always wondered if I left enough of a mark. That call answered that." Others describe needing several minutes or even hours to process before telling loved ones. "I didn't even tell my partner right away because I was afraid I'd jinx it. I needed to sit with it and make sure it was real." For family members who watched their loved ones starve, scheme, and struggle just months earlier, the news came with mixed emotions. "My mom was proud and also immediately worried," another castaway shares. "She was like, 'Didn't you almost die out there?'"
Redemption on the line. Not every Season 49 returnee left the game satisfied. For some, Season 50 is a chance to get their lives back on track, a second chance to get things right after the finale. I replayed my elimination in my head for months, one castaway admits. I knew exactly where I had made a mistake. Getting another shot felt like the universe giving me closure. Others saw the return as an opportunity to evolve publicly. The first time I was figuring myself out, another player explains. This time I know who I am as a competitor. I'm no longer playing scared. The pressure is still there, despite this confidence. If anything, it's multiplied. Everyone expects more from you the second time, one person asserts. You don't get the benefit of being underestimated. Keeping the secret. Once the invitation was accepted, the next challenge wasn't physical or strategic.
The secrecy surrounding Survivor 50 is intense, and those who return from Season 49 claim that it was nearly impossible to keep the news quiet. You're walking around with the biggest secret of your life, one castaway says. Every fan interaction, every interview, you're lying through your teeth. Some players had to fabricate excuses for sudden disappearances or schedule changes. I told my job I was dealing with a family situation, one admits. I couldn't risk saying anything because it hurt so bad. Social media became a minefield. A single wrong post could spark speculation. I basically vanished online, another says. Fans noticed immediately. Facing legends and each other. One of the strangest realizations came when castaways understood who they might be playing against. It's one thing to return, a Season 49 player says. It's another to realize you might be sharing a beach with people you've idolized for years. At the same time, returning alongside fellow Season 49 castaways added a new layer of complexity. We know each other's games, one explains. We've lived it. That makes it dangerous. Friendships forged during Season 49 could quickly turn into liabilities. There's loyalty, and then there's survival, another says bluntly. Season 50 won't forgive sentimentality. Training for the moment. The majority of returnees did not take the invitation lightly, unlike their first season. Preparation began almost immediately. I started swimming every day, one castaway shares. This time, I wasn't going to let a challenge get the better of me. Others paid attention to mental toughness. I rewatched my season, painfully, another admits. I studied my tells, my mistakes, how I spoke at tribal council. Nutrition, endurance, puzzles, nothing was left to chance. You don't get asked back twice, one says. This is it. Gratitude for the fans. Nearly every returning castaway points to fan support as a major reason they believe they were chosen. The fans saw me when I didn't even see myself, one player says. That means everything. Messages poured in after Season 49 aired. Encouragement, analysis, even criticism, all of it fueling growth. Another observes, being invited back feels like a thank you to the fans as much as it is to us. Walking back into the fire. As filming for Season 50 approaches, excitement is mixed with nerves. I know it'll hurt again, one castaway says. However, I'm also sure it will be worth it. For these Season 49 players, the invitation wasn't just about returning to the island. It was about being recognized as part of Survivor history, not someday, but now. When Jeff snuffs your torch, you think that's the end, one reflects. But sometimes, it's just the beginning. And for a select group of castaways from Survivor 49, that beginning sets up the most memorable season the franchise has ever seen. For most Survivor players, the end of their season marks the end of a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. The torches are snuffed, the beaches fade into memory, and the dream of returning feels reserved for legends from the show's earliest days. But for several castaways from Survivor 49, that ending turned out to be only the beginning. As CBS prepares to launch Survivor 50, the franchise's milestone anniversary season, select players from Survivor 49 are opening up about the shocking, emotional, and deeply unreal moment they were asked to return, a call that instantly altered their lives and cemented their place in Survivor history. The call they never expected. For many of the Survivor 49 castaways, the invitation arrived without warning. Some were at work, others were at home, scrolling social media or replaying moments from their season in their heads. None of them believed Season 50 was even a possibility. "I assumed Season 50 would be all legends," one player says. "I never imagined someone from my season would get that call." Disbelief set in when the producers finally revealed the reason for contacting them. They said, "We're talking about Season 50, and everything after that went blurry," another castaway recalls. "I remember thinking, am I being pranked?" Several players say the producers were intentionally vague at first, emphasizing secrecy and confidentiality. But once the idea of returning was confirmed, emotions hit fast and hard. "I couldn't stop shaking," one admits. "It felt unreal." What Season 50 really means. Season 50 isn't just another returnee season. It's a celebration of 5 decades of Survivor, a tribute to the players, moments, and strategies that built the show into a television institution. For Season 49 castaways, being included felt especially meaningful. "We're part of the new era," one player explains. "Sometimes it feels like people don't take us as seriously as the old school players. That was changed by this invitation." Many of them grew up watching Survivor icons dominate the game. It was overwhelming to contemplate sharing a beach with legends or even being mentioned alongside them. "I used to sit on my couch and watch these people like they were superheroes. Now, I might be voting them out. That's wild." Tears, shock, and phone calls home. After the initial shock wore off, reality set in, and for some, that meant tears. "I cried the second I hung up," one player says. "It felt like confirmation for everything I had gone through out there," she said. Others struggled to explain the moment to loved ones. "How do you tell someone, 'Hey, remember when you almost starved on an island?'" Another person makes a joke. "I'm doing that again." Family reactions ranged from pride to immediate concern. "My mom asked if I could say no, but my dad was thrilled. She still worries whenever I get close to a campfire." Redemption and second chances. Not every Season 49 returnee left the game satisfied. For some, Season 50 represents a chance at redemption, an opportunity to correct a move that went wrong or a strategy that backfired. "I knew exactly where I messed up," one castaway says. "That mistake lived rent-free in my head." Getting a second chance brought renewed confidence. "This time, I know how fast the game moves," another explains. "I'm not afraid to make bold moves." But that confidence comes with pressure. "Everyone knows you now," one player admits. "There's nowhere to hide." Keeping the biggest secret of their lives. A new obstacle arose when the invitation was accepted: secrecy. It was nearly as difficult to conceal one's participation in Survivor 50 as the actual game itself. "You're walking around with the biggest secret of your life," one castaway says. "Every fan interaction, every interview, you're lying through your teeth." Some players had to fabricate excuses for sudden disappearances or schedule changes. "I told my job I was dealing with a family situation," one admits. "I couldn't risk saying anything because it hurt so bad." Social media became a minefield. A single wrong post could spark speculation. "I basically vanished online," another says. "Fans noticed immediately." Taking on legends and competing against them. The realization that they might be competing against Survivor legends didn't fully sink in until later. "It hits you in waves," one player explains. "One moment you're excited, the next you're terrified." But perhaps even more intimidating was the idea of facing fellow Season 49 players. "They know your tells," one says. "They've seen you lie." Alliances formed once could become immediate targets. "Friendship doesn't protect you in Season 50, another admits bluntly. Season 50 won't forgive sentimentality. Training for the biggest game yet. Preparation for Season 50 began almost immediately. "I started swimming every day," one castaway shares. "This time, I wasn't going to let a challenge get the better of me." Others paid attention to mental toughness. "I rewatched my season, painfully," another admits. "I studied my tells, my mistakes, how I spoke at tribal council. Nutrition, endurance, puzzles, nothing was left to chance." "You don't get asked back twice," one says. "This is it."
Gratitude for the fans. Nearly every returning castaway credits the fans for helping make the return possible. One person asserts, "People saw something in me. That support carried me." Their development was shaped by both positive and negative fan messages. Another observes, "Being invited back feels like a thank you to the fans as much as it is to us." Walking back into the fire. As filming for season 50 approaches, excitement is mixed with nerves. "I know it'll hurt again," one castaway says. "However, I'm also sure it will be worth it." For these season 49 players, the invitation wasn't just about returning to the island. It was about being recognized as part of Survivor history, not someday, but now. "When my torch went out, I thought that was the end," one reflects. But sometimes, it's just the beginning. And for a select group of castaways from Survivor 49, that beginning sets up the most memorable season the franchise has ever seen.